Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So this video is going to be all about my winter foundation routine. And if you're curious about this eye look, I filmed it in a separate video, so that link will probably be down below in the description box. But today I'm going to be showing you how I keep my skin looking smooth while I'm wearing makeup in this cold ass weather. Now if you guys have been following me, you know that I originally had normal to dry skin before I got pregnant, and now postpartum, probably for the rest of my life, I have extra dry flaky skin. It is ridiculous. So I already have a skincare routine on my channel. I will leave the link down below in the description box. So this is just going to be all about the makeup. Now, I've already moisturized my skin with a crap ton of aloe vera. I prime my nose using my good old Dr. Brandt's Pores No More. But this is different. Usually I use my Bye Bye Pores powder from IT Cosmetics. The loose powder I ran out, so I'm using the Catrice Prime and Fine waterproof translucent powder. I also use this at the end of my makeup to set my nose and keep it looking matte all day. This is very mattifying, so that's why I only use it on my nose, because my nose is the only place that gets oily. Alright, so besides that, let's just get started. Now, I've been raving about this foundation, the Estee Lauder Perfectionist Foundation. And I am in the shade Shell Beige. I also already have a video about the wear test for this foundation. It is not marketed as a long-wearing foundation, but I find that it lasts pretty long on my skin. But once again, I have extremely dry skin. I'm just going to move my mirror over here. So I shake it up, and I do 2 pumps on either side of my face. So now I'm going in with my Estee Lauder Advanced Night Repair Serum. And I also use this in my skincare, but to mix it in with your foundation, of course it gives you skincare benefits, but it also adds a nice dew to your foundation without breaking it up or making it last a shorter amount of time than your foundation usually would. So basically it does not mess with the properties of your foundation, it just adds a nice healthy glow to your skin. So if you notice I'm avoiding my nose, that's because I'm going to be going in with a mixture of the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Foundation. This is in the shade Golden Beige. And I use this foundation because it is very mattifying. And like I said before, my nose is the only place on my face that gets oily. But I don't want to just use the Wet n Wild because then it'll make my face or make my nose area look super dry. So I do add 1 pump of the Perfectionist foundation to it. And I also apply this to my nose with a damp beauty blender rather than a sponge, because I find that or a damp beauty blender rather than a brush, because I find that the brush can swirl the powder around and kind of make the foundation thicker and cakier than it needs to be. So I just zoomed you in so we can get into concealer. Now I know I look a little orange on camera. I'm not orange in real life. I don't know why that's happening. Maybe it's because of the red wall behind me, but I realize I look orange. In real life, I'm not orange. This is my shade. So next I'm going to go into concealer. I used to use only the Makeup Revolution Conceal and Define Concealer in C6. Now I use the same concealer except in C8 to hide some of my darkness. So I just apply a little bit of the C8 to my inner corner, and since I already have my eyes done, I don't bring it up too high. And then for highlighting, that's when I go in with C6 and bring it down the sides of my nose and up like that. I also use it on my chin, a little bit on my forehead, and down the center of my nose. Then I go in with a damp beauty blender and blend that out. Now I know Jackie Aina has started the technique of leaving her under eye concealer to last and blending out the rest of her face. I cannot do that because my skin is very dry and this concealer does dry quickly, so if I did that, I wouldn't be able to blend it. Alright, to set my under eye, I use baby powder. Now, I was using the Maybelline Fit Me powder. That is a little too drying too, so I just use a good old-fashioned baby powder. And I apply it using a dry sponge, and I knock off the excess. Now, if you are trying to go out and be sweaty and stuff and take pictures, do not use baby powder. Number one, the insane amount of flashback. If you are baking, which obviously I don't do because I have such dry skin, but if you bake with baby powder, you will get flashback. So that I would definitely use the Maybelline Fit Me powder if you are trying to take pictures, because that will not give you a lot of flashback. And I don't powder my whole face because, once again, I have extremely dry skin. So I just go around the places, around the places where I know I'm going to crease or get oily, which is basically around my nose. And then I talk and smile a lot, so I try to go around my smile lines. Now, it's inevitable. I always crease right by my mouth, but doing this makes it a little bit less noticeable. All right, I'm gonna leave that on there for just a little bit. Next, I'm going to cream contour my nose using my Lancome dual-ended stick. And if you don't have this, you can use the hard candy one. It's an exact dupe for this. Since I'm almost out, as you can see, I'm definitely going to be switching to my hard candy one soon. So what I do is I contour the tip of my nose so it makes it look a little bit more upturned, as you can see. And then I just follow my brow line down my nose to make it look slimmer. So I go to about there, and then I follow it down like this at the end. Then I go in with a beauty blender and blend that out gently because I don't want to lift any of my foundation. Now, to set the center of my nose, I'm going to use that Catrice Prime and Fine mattifying powder that I use to prime my nose with. And I find that this hides my pores and it keeps my nose from eating all my makeup. Now, it doesn't hide my pores all day, I will say that. They do start to come through after a few hours of wear, but initially my nose looks super smooth. You can't see any black dots. This stuff is amazing. So I actually let that sit there for a little bit. Now, this foundation does not really set, so the only places that I am going to powder are right here on my cheeks, so I can go in with my bronzers. Now, I am going to be switching to a cream bronzer, but I just bought one. I haven't tested it out. I'm showing you in this video what I would normally do without any changes, so yeah. So I could either go in with a translucent powder, which is the Bare Minerals Mineral Veil that I would use. This is a hydrating mineral veil. Or I could go in with my Sephora Micro Smooth Powder. Now I use this if I need extra coverage. I am in the shade Medium Beige. This is actually a tad too dark for me, but the shade below it is way too light. So I just use this and mix it with a little bit of my baby powder on top, and it, you know, it doesn't make me look like an Oompa Loompa. But today I'm going to be using the Bare Minerals powder because I don't need any extra coverage on my cheeks. You just take a little bit of that, and it does have a little bit of a tint. I don't know if you can see that, but it doesn't show up on your skin. It doesn't show up white, and it doesn't show up like ashy or anything, or too dark. So I just powder my skin right here. That's the only place I powder. And right here below my lip, because I do have that indent and my foundation can cake up there. I'm also going to dust off that powder on my nose. Next, I'm going to go in with contour, and I use the Wet n Wild Dulce de Leche Contour Palette. And I'm just going to sculpt out my cheekbones. Now, usually I wouldn't really have to do this because I would have a defined line, but since I've gained a lot of weight, I have to shave off some of those pounds using contour. So usually I wouldn't do this, I just use a bronzer, but so you can kind of see the line that I'm talking about, but that's just because I have high cheekbones. Usually it would be a lot more defined naturally. So what I'm doing is just defining that line using my contour powder. And I am gently applying this because this is super pigmented, as you can see. I'm going to have to blend this out. So just being gentle. And I am wearing castor oil around my edges because you guys know I'm trying to grow out my little baby hairs that fell out after I had my baby. So I'm being really gentle around my hairline because I do have castor oil there, and it will make the powder cake up, and it will also get on my brush and make everything else look bad. So I'm just being very careful around there. And I'm also going to go along my jaw to shave off some of those extra pounds. I'm also going to take a little bit of that contour under my lip to make it look plumper. Then I'm going to go in with this little Eco Tools brush. It's the little blend brush. And this is what I've been using to do my nose contour lately. Before I was using this big old brush and just stamping it and then using a powder brush to blend it out, but then I found that that was kind of taking off my foundation. So I just use this brush right here with very little product on it and go over the cream contour that I applied earlier just to define it. Next, I'm going to go in with my bronzer, and this is from Milani. This is the Dolce Bronzer number 9. And I'm just using this big old brush and stamping it right above my contour. I'm also going to go over my nose a little bit. And I'm not going along my hairline because I am wearing a wig with bangs later, so I'm not even going to bother. You're not going to be able to see it anyway. And just further blending out that contour on my neck. Next, I'm going in with blush, and I'm using the NYX Ombre Blush in Strictly Chic. I don't even think they make this anymore, but I really like it because it's this, it's kind of like this apricot shade. It's like a orangey brown. Once again, put it on my nose. And that's pretty much my foundation routine. Now I'm going to spray my face down to get all of these powders to set into my skin, and then apply my highlight. So for my setting sprays, I use 2 because girls got needs. So this Revolution Sport Fix is mattifying and it keeps your makeup on all day. Like, this makes it concrete. Then I have this Catrice Prime and Fine Dewy Glow. That Taylor here on YouTube ignited my passion for this. I went to my local Ulta and stocked up because I'm pretty sure that this is being discontinued because it's not on the Catrice site, and my Ulta only had 2 left, so I bought them all. I even asked them to go in the back and see if they had any more, and I bought those too. So I have like 4 of these because I'm pretty sure it's being discontinued. But this, I don't know if it actually makes your makeup last longer, but it definitely helps the powders not look like powder, makes it all look like skin, and gives you a nice dewy glow. And I haven't used this on my normal skin, I only used it on makeup, but I'll try it as a normal skin thing, like as a primer spray before I put on my makeup and see if it does anything. But it definitely works really well as a finishing spray. So I place the Sport Fix first. Just like that. And I go in with that lightly. This I go in heavy with because it makes everything look like butter. And if you have dry skin like me, you will love this, and it smells good. So I started highlighting, and because I forgot to show you guys, I'm using the Wet n Wild Mega Glow highlighting powder in the shade Precious Petals. And I used to go in with just the Morphe brush, the Morphe 510 brush, but now I use a fan brush to get in here and apply it all around, and then I go in with the Morphe brush to intensify it on the highest point of my cheeks. And I also use the Morphe brush to highlight my nose, but initially I go in with the fan brush and apply it all above my eyebrows and my cupid's bow. And then I go in with the Morphe brush and highlight the tip of my nose and right between my eyes. Now, like I said, I do get flaky right here, so sometimes this is not a good idea, but I find that it just makes my nose look like how I want it to. So I have to make sure that I definitely moisturize and press in my foundation really well around this part so my skin doesn't look flaky, but I still highlight it anyway, sue me. And I'm just going to put some under my brows too. Just a little bit. And then, of course, intensify it on the highest points of my cheeks. And then, of course, I go back in with my Catrice setting spray. So I zoomed you in super close so you can see what the skin is looking like. Now, if you're curious about this mark right here, that's just a beauty mark. I don't go in and redefine it because I don't care. But you can totally see that highlight. Now, I do have bags under my eyes. You know, it is what it is. I don't know how to hide them 100%, but when you're looking at me like this, you can't really see them. It's only when you get like super up close and I'm looking down that you can see I have bags. But if you're looking at me straight on, they're not very noticeable. So just keep that in mind. And as you can see, my nose looks very smoosh. Alright, so that's pretty much it. It's a very simple foundation routine. Anyone can do it. You don't have to use these products. These are just the products that work for me, especially this foundation because it's been a long, hard road finding something that I am so in love with, and this also happens to be very expensive, so you don't need to get this. If you have extra flaky dry skin like me, you might want to invest, but if you don't have a need to have this specific kind of foundation that keeps you dewy and glowy and all that jazz all day, you can buy something else. But this was totally worth the money in my opinion. So yeah, you don't have to use all the products I use to get this look. I just wanted to show you the steps that I do in order to get my skin looking the way it does in my photos, because I don't retouch my photos. You guys can see everything when I get super up close. You can see my pores and everything. But I personally think my makeup looks good, especially my foundation. Okay? And this is no, like, I can't do anything without this anymore. This Catrice Prime and Fine Dewy Setting Spray. Get your hands on it while you can, because like I'm so sure, I think I might have to email Catrice Cosmetics to see if they are discontinuing this, but I'm like 91% sure that this is going away, because I literally can't find it online at the Catrice Cosmetics, which is usually where all their stuff is. So definitely get your hands on this if you have dry skin. It will save your makeup life. Anyway guys, if you enjoyed this video, then please give me a big thumbs up and press the subscribe button down in the description box so you don't miss any more content from me. And if you are curious what is on my lips, for this look I decided to use the Rimmel London lip liner in Tiramisu. Then I went in with a MAC Bullet in the shade Nude de Jour. That's a matte lipstick. And then in the center, I decided to go in with the L'Oreal Infallible Pro Matte Liquid Lipstick in the shade Dose of Cocoa. That's a very cool tone shade. Anyway, guys, I hope to see you in the next video.